G'day ladies and gentlemen, Duckville here bringing you some StarCraft CO action. We've got some Wings of Liberty coming up today. It is going to be featuring a very popular player from Team Liquid. Starting up at the top right hand side here we have our NASL Season 4 Grand Final winner. It is Liquid HerO. Whoa, I was kind of yawning at the same time and like bashed my mouse while I was doing it. That was pretty impressive. His opponent down at the bottom left, nothing's like pre-recorded, guys. Like, as you know, I always record stuff straight off the bat. If there's anything wrong, I don't re-record, I don't recut or anything. You got raw duck right here. That's what's going on right now. Anyway, Liquid HerO's opponent down in the bottom left-hand side in the blue is a Terran by the name of Barcode Guy. We're going to call him Mr. Blue, of course, if you're watching a cast that I just put up on the channel from Heart of the Swarm with Gemini and of course Mr. Blue as well. So this Mr. Blue guy is getting around quite a bit. He loves playing his StarCraft. What he also loves doing is sending out 2 SCVs at a time, and by the direction they're going, I'm thinking we're going to have some sort of multi-racks placement. We've already got, yep, there it is. There's one. Probably going to get a second one just across on the side of that as well. Of course, very not too common to see 2 racks kind of play in TVP these days. Of course, Mr. Blue is just going to throw an old monkey wrench out there. And a spanner in the works, if you will, if I actually get that saying right. And HerO should be able to see this. I mean, he gets down here, sees that there's a limited amount of SCVs. Of course, you can very easily tell if someone's doing some kind of very basic sort of cheese like this, if they have that very small amount of workers sitting there in their mineral line. And wisely, of course, HerO is going to put down a forge alongside his gateway, and we'll probably see him just throw up 1 or 2 cannons. Looks like he does come along to the double racks creation spot over here, and may even be able to get one of these SCVs more. Is he actually going to get it? No, he's not. Well, he might get one of the SCVs, but he's not going to stop the creation of these 2 barracks. Now, as we can see, the cannon is going to go up, so HerO should be pretty well protected. I mean, there's realistically no way to actually get in and do some damage here when there is at least 1 cannon here. We may even see a second one go up from HerO, just sort of depending on how he feels about it. Looks like one of the Marines has finished up the SCV on the way. Not going to get too far. The cannon just about to complete. A second one is also being built. Looks like Probe microed away almost beautifully, but we won't call that one beautiful because he did die. But the cannon does finish up. It bought a little bit of time for the cannon just to finish up properly there, and as we can see, it looks like HerO may try and just do a run by to actually get the Marines away from his main base. The SCV just doing a little bit of zigzagging there to try and stop the Zealot from getting too far. But as we can see, 1 probe already is going to keep an eye on what's going on here for our blue player. This seems very MVP-ish. Like, I can't really tell from the hotkeys. Like, I was just looking at that then. You can't really tell from what the hotkeys are. At least I can't. I know there are some investigator nerds out there in the community who do, who can like look at the replays in SC2 Gears and are just like, you know, oh my god, this is X player. But that's not how I roll. I have no idea. But it just kind of feels very MVP. Look at that micro, very nicely done. Either way, Mr. Blue is just going to set up a contain here. Of course, a bunker at the bottom of the ramp, just outside of range of where a Stalker could probably hit it from out of vision, is a nice little touch here. Just going to make sure that HerO is not able to expand. As we can see, that Zealot almost got some really nice damage here. He got a couple of kills, but then was shot down by that 1 remaining Marine that was there. And now, as we can see, the rack's going to just float away. Of course, the double racks should be able to provide Mr. Blue with a nice amount of scouting here. Of course, he can just double check on what's going on. You can generally sort of assume from the reaction of a Protoss of what's going on. Normally, after the defense has been created, i.e. the cannon or 2 and a couple of sentries, you'll normally see them just go straight into double gas and then get standard sorts of units out. Generally, it will be a couple of Stalkers as well. So, as we can see, HerO just going to try and get rid of that Rax. The Rax is just floating about, trying to get some scouting on. Does see the double gas. So he does know that it's not going to be any sort of early sort of Dark Templar cheesy kind of stuff like that. Of course, if you've been playing Heart of the Swarm, it is quite possible to do that off 1 gas now, given that the price of the Dark Shrine has been reduced down to 100. It is the coolest thing ever. Hey, speaking of which, I have been doing quite a lot of Heart of the Swarm stuff, and I'm probably going to be sticking with Heart of the Swarm sort of from here on out, unless there are some really good games, or of course some games from my favorite team, Team Liquid. So just sort of keep that in mind. If you have your own Heart of the Swarm stuff and you've been playing and you have a really fun game and you want to send it through, please feel free to send it through to docvillol@gmail.com. As we can see, HerO, however, has just moved out with the Stalkers. He's just going to move down and say, you know what, I'm just going to run by, going to lose some of the shields, not lose any of the health on these Stalkers, and that's just very nicely done by him. So he's going to control the watchtower, just keep an eye on what's going on. The bunker's still here though, so he's not going to be able to take his expansion just yet. I do like the safety of what HerO is doing. He's getting this robo up as quickly as he can. He's going to obviously get that Immortal out to bust down that bunker, but I'm assuming by just the way that this Terran player is going about it, he'll know sort of the relative timings of when a player will try and get out of the base. And as we can see, going to try and eject some of those Marines to take down at least one of the Zealots. Does get one, may get a second one just here as well, does get him. The SCV goes down, and that's going to be the end of that bunker. I'm a little bit surprised he didn't try and get out of there a little bit earlier, but we'll try and micro about keeping the Marines alive as long as possible. As you can see, 1 Zealot on 2 health. That guy is very satisfied with his position in the world. He's very happy about that. But as we can see, HerO has now expanded. He's going to have an Immortal out very soon. We'll be able to do a semi-push because he does have +1 on his armor just about to complete, which means that he's going to have a relatively nice trade, especially with Marines, unless his Stalkers get caught out of place. Now, as we can see, beautiful targeting there by Mr. Blue. HerO continuing to have to move these Stalkers out of the way. That is just some beautiful, beautiful stutter step there. Really, you don't get to see some really nice stuff like that too often, but there it is. As we can see, the Immortal has plodded along, an Observer on the way. We'll probably see a couple more Stalkers come out of HerO just to sort of make sure he can keep his opponent in check. But Mr. Blue has now grabbed his expansion. HerO's going to see this and say, alright, well, we're just going to sort of slow it down, take it back to a standard sort of game, and I'm sure that the Terran will be happy to oblige. He does, of course, have his 3rd command center up, switched into an orbital command. It looks like we're going to go for the standard sort of play. We do have Stim just about to finish up, Starport about to switch over with the factory as well, meaning, of course, that there will probably be some kind of Stim timing. The issue with this is that it's a little bit later on. Of course, this normally would actually be hitting across the map at about this point, about the 10:30 mark. You normally want to hit with around about +1 weapons and Stim done, and sort of be hitting the Protoss natural, of course, abusing the fact that they have to cover quite a large area on this map. Of course, medevacs are quite good for dropping into the main base here, but because this is all late, very delayed because of that very fast sort of cheese that came along from Blue, we're going to have this come along a little bit later, and it's going to be much more defensive. I doubt he's going to push too hard until he gets perhaps a few more Marauders out, if he's going to actually get them at all. I mean, he hasn't actually invested anything in the Marauders. Does have double reactors on the way, so he will be able to get some of that production going with those Marines. So it is going to be a primary force of Marines here from Blue. He's got a total of 15. A couple of medevacs are out. HerO looking to possibly take his 3rd base. I'm not sure if he is going to do this, but I don't think that's going to be very secure if he does try and take it. Of course, Marines with Stim with a couple of medevacs to support are something that is very dangerous when it comes to taking a 3rd base at a relatively fast pace. I'm not going to say this is a quick 3rd base because it's not necessarily, but of course it is something that is a little bit sooner than you would expect HerO to go for. So a couple more gates on the way. Of course, we did see a Colossus is out, a second one about to join him, +1 to weapons also just about to finish up. There it is, yeah, just the Marines pushing across, just saying, you know what, you're not going to take this 3rd base. So we're going to sit down for a moment, we're going to have some biscuits, we're going to have some tea, and we're going to think about, whether that is actually a good life choice or not. So HerO will be delayed from taking his 3rd for the moment. Of course, this is a very sort of normal way to play in PvT. Despite the start of the game, we've sort of turned into this standard sort of situation where the Terran has just gotten his 3rd base just a little bit quicker than the Protoss. Of course, he sort of has the majority of map control as well. Of course, the giant observer of the sky, the factory, just keeping an eye on where some of the units of HerO are. And yeah, it kind of just feels like we're going to switch into a standard sort of game for the moment. As we can see, back at home for Mr. Blue, he's got a couple of Vikings on the way. Armory is just about to complete up, pretty well timed here with the eBays finishing up +1 on their weapons. So he's going to continue on with his bio style and get +2 straight away for those infantry units. Now we do have a Marauder thrown in just for a little bit of extra damage as well. So Blue's going to come along. He may, yeah, he will definitely get a snipe on this this Nexus, and of course that will probably force a cancel from HerO. He's just sitting here just saying, alright, bam, cancel that one. Nicely done, HerO. He's still in a position where it's not the most sort of efficient position to sort of try and take that base, but he's just going to try and take it anyway as best as he can, because of course with 3 Colossus out, it should actually be a good time to take it now. So he may look to try and head down towards that 3rd base yet again. The Marines just posturing for position just here inside the Xel'Naga Watchtower. So they've moved out, trying to get a couple of shots on those Stalkers and even getting a scan off. This is just phenomenal play from this Blue Terran. He's doing a brilliant job, actually just sniping out some of those units. He's just on the ball completely 100%, and as we can see, HerO is finally going to get that 3rd base up, because he should be pretty well defended against it now with the 3 Colossus, with a few sentries on the ground, and he's also going to try and get some pressure going on Blue as well. Just coming into the 3rd base, is going to scout out how much is going on here. We'll want to keep an eye on how many SCVs are there, just try to shave those down just a little bit with those side blades. Going to of course fall down to the Marine Marauder force that comes along. And we'll probably have seen that there are a couple of Vikings there as well. So we'd not be surprised if we see HerO switch over his tech of choice. As we can see, one last Colossus probably going to pop out. I would not be surprised to see the Twilight Council in a jiffy as well, if we don't already have it. No, sorry, we do already have it. So we may see the Templar Archives go down. I totally forgotten what that was for a minute then. So a Templar Archives pretty soon, I would expect, from HerO. He does have +2 to weapons on the way, and a couple more gates as we mentioned just before. So a few Vikings are out, 5 in total are here with the rest of the fleet. As we can see, an extremely large force of Marine Marauder is out at the moment for Blue, not to mention the extra ones just down here. 5 medevacs as well. Looks like we are going to have a little bit of an engagement here, perhaps not necessarily best position for HerO, of course. The high ground here is a beautiful spot for those Vikings just to sit up there. Back in the old days, you would have seen a Viking flower up there just to sort of take advantage of the fact that they can sit up there. And in fact, he actually does do a semi sort of version of the Viking flower. So Blue just sort of calculating his position, keeping scans going down to keep an eye on where HerO Stalkers are and where those Colossus are. One of the Vikings does get sniped out, leaving only 5. It's not the best amount to try and take care of that many Colossus, but it looks like we're going to have an engagement anyway. HerO's Colossus just moving straight up the ramp, trying to really smash down some of those units, but the Vikings doing a relatively good job. But HerO, again, is just completely on the ball and snipes all of those down, and it looks like pretty nice defense there from HerO. He did lose a couple of the Colossus, of course, 2 of those. It looks like a secondary force down to the side from Blue. We'll also get a couple more snipes off, but not really too much damage done there. A little bit surprised we didn't actually see a drop inside the main from our Blue Terran player. He seems to be a very high caliber player with quite a lot of micro to spare. Let's just have a quick look at the APM. We've currently got him up at 195 on the average APM for the game so far, so definitely a quick player. As we can see, his 3rd base is of course up. He's researching that +1 to the ship weapons at the moment, obviously going to provide that extra little bit of damage there for those Vikings. He's currently got a total of 6 racks at the moment. There is an extra starport here as well, which is why we're seeing uneven numbers of those flying units. But he is going to continue to push across the map, just trying to keep that map dominance, of course. In TvP, of course, you've just got to be very scared of that Protoss late game, which can be very, very threatening, with Storms, Archons, and Colossus doing so much area effect damage that can actually just shred through these types of forces. And it looks like the SCV pull has come along here. Man, this looks so much like MVP right now, just because of that sort of mid to late game sort of SCV pull which has come across, and beautiful force fields here from HerO, just blocking off the ramp, going to pull some of his units back, needs to snipe down these Vikings, and does a brilliant job of that. And as we can see, the battlefield is looking very, very sort of scarce at the moment, but there we go, the rest of the units now just marching their way in. Zealots coming across, probes coming across from HerO. Wow, this is starting to look a little bit like a TVZ with the workers coming about. But here comes one of the Templar. He does have Storm. He's not going to throw it down just as of yet. Of course, the Colossus, a good way to keep the AoE damage up for the time being. In fact, there are 2 Templar here, so a little bit surprised we didn't see a Storm come out of HerO just now, but as you can see, he does have that vision of where all of those units are, so he can keep an eye on what's going on, and we'll just sort of sit back, make sure he's got a good amount of forces for the next attack, and we'll get ready to try and snipe some of these down. Meanwhile, for our Terran player, he still has not looked to take his 4th base. I think he's just going to continue on this pressure. Actually, this seems a little bit similar to something Bomber also does. So, either way, we've got a very highly skilled Terran here in this matchup. Looks like HerO's main has been mined out. Of course, he's got a couple of extra gates on the way. And here we go. It looks like we are going to have a bit of a battle. One of the Templar almost being... There it is, a beautiful snipe on one of those Templar here. And it looks like we are going to have a push, perhaps. Nope, more SCVs. So it's the SCV train continues. So our blue Terran is kind of all in at this point here. When you're sacrificing that many SCVs, it can be a little bit of an ugly thing to do. But a beautiful Storm goes down. Those units just butting their heads against the force fields, not actually getting anything done, and getting a Storm on top of them for their work. And it looks like, wow, actually our blue Terran is going to push through. He's got a lot of Marauders here. They do have their 2-2 beautiful micro, stepping them back just to make sure they're not taking too much damage. HerO's got an Archon, a couple of Templar warping in as well. He does have a Storm. Where is that Storm? There it is, beautifully done. Right on top of the Marine Marauders. They're getting very, very low, and the medevacs have almost no energy left over, so not too much healing going down. Another Storm right on top of the Terran there, and even the medevac's starting to fall down now. So HerO, while it looks it kind of looked very dire for him there at one point, he is still sticking in this game, and because of that very high-powered mix of units he's got here, the Templar, the Archons, throw in a few Zealots with 2 on their armor and 3 on their weapons, and you've got a recipe for quite a lot of dead buyers. So, of course, as we can see, our blue Terran has thrown up a couple of Vikings to continue. He's continued that production, which is a little bit interesting given that all those Colossi have gone down. Now he has switched back to the medevacs for the time being. So he's going to have a few more units out to heal very soon. Meanwhile, for HerO, just continuing to just take his time. He's not going to overdo it. He's just going to sort of just wait patiently to see what his opponent is up to. And while he's doing that, a couple of Zealots are going to head across the map to try and get some more damage done at this very, very exposed 3rd base. As we can see, Blue has actually switched over. He's taken the SCVs out of gas. So he's just gone that hard into this particular style. He's currently sitting on 32 SCVs because so many have been lost during these various battles. HerO up at 70 probes, so he's going to be very happy at this point. As he needs to do is pretty much just something along the lines of take your time, trade very efficiently. Of course, the Terran is going to be able to resupply quite a lot with the 3 bases that he has, but the fact of the matter is that with these Archons, with the 1 Colossus and quite a lot of Zealots now starting to warp in, HerO is going to have really efficient, nice trades. As we can see, his upgrades are up to 303. Our Terran player is sitting at 2-2 and has been stuck there for quite a long time, given that he has invested so much in these various attacks, and he is going to come down to the 3rd base. This could put a little bit of a problem in HerO's books right now, because the Nexus going down means that the mining from that base is going to be quite delayed. But as we can see, just with that retreat, he's going to keep his units alive for the moment. Those Zealots didn't really get too much damage done from the looks of it. In fact, they might be these guys just here, but HerO has decided it is go time. He has punched the button, turning it up to 11, and he's going to come across now with 303 ground units, 1 Colossus, a couple of Templar thrown in the mix along with those Archons as well, and HerO is about to get crazy up in here, up at 171 supply. Of course, a very threatening thing to see is a 25-minute 3-base Protoss with a lot of Archons, a lot of Zealots, and some Templar thrown in for good measure as well. So we'll probably see some beautiful Storms very soon. It looks like our Terran players trying to grab some of those Templar before they can get their Storms off. Very nicely done there with that small force. And now that the 3rd has been denied, he's going to put HerO's going to put himself in a very, very nice position right now. He is going to try and get his own 4th base up and running, but here we go. The battle is on. Storms all over the place here from HerO. He's still got more to come. No Ghost throwing down EMPs, of course, meaning that every single unit here from HerO has a beautiful amount of energy and shields left over, and that is going to be it. no way to invest in that late game here from our blue Terran, and he goes down to a very powerful mid to late game push from Liquid HerO. So beautifully done there in that game from Liquid HerO. Of course, you can find some more replays from him in the Team Liquid Razor replay of the week. Replay pack of the week. Replack is a mixture of replay and pack. From number 52, it's over on teamliquidpro.com. And, of course, hopefully we'll see some more HerO winning very soon, because he is one of the most handsome Protoss players ever. Hope you had fun. See you guys next time.